So secret number one is that cravings are not about you. It's not about willpower. It's not about holding and fighting and giving up or not giving up. It's not about the thoughts that you're thinking. Well, you're thinking thoughts that are making you eat. Oh my gosh, no. Now, that's not to say that brain chemistry like dopamine and endorphins don't support giving in to cravings. I'm not saying that. But they're driven by far more. Cravings are driven far more than about thoughts. In fact, I use this in the other episode. They're not about you. Cravings are really about sabotage. Again, you are being sabotaged. Why? Because if you have a craving, this is an absolute truth. If you are sabotaged by cravings, you are right now, you are in sugar burning mode. You are a sugar burner. And let's understand this. Every human is a sugar burner. But some humans are not always a sugar burner. There's another fuel that we can be burning, and those who are enjoying chronic health, who are enjoying long-lasting change in the form of weight loss, they understand there's a whole other fuel they could be accessing, but they keep locking themselves in sugar burner mode. So here we are, sabotaged. Here I am, stick figure, right? How am I sabotaged? Remember we talked about our thoughts? Well, our brain chemistry will lock us into sugar burner. Our brain here is one wall. Our emotions here is the other supporting wall, okay? We know from the last episode that dopamine is that sugar rush. We see it in children around the holidays. They get their hands on all these sweets. They go running around the room, right? Especially little. I remember my son Charlie. Oh my gosh, one time he bit the head off a chocolate Easter bunny and we couldn't catch him. You know, that is called an energy, that's energy rush, but it's also this dopamine, okay? It's a great little whoop. I love that, right? It's a fix. And then you also have endorphins, which influence our feel good. You know, if someone has a comfort food that is involving sugar, that's where comfort food comes from. It's about the endorphins that are released, okay? But those are both emotional brain things. Both of these support or hold up or add to what is the biggest saboteur for us who are in craving crisis. And it's our body's component. It's our insulin. We talked about that before in our other talk. That is the crux, the catalyst of your cravings. Okay? That is it. Remember my daughter with type 1 diabetes. I kept looking at her, my son, my other daughter, my husband and I. We were all eating the same things at a dinner one night. The only thing I kept thinking, okay, what is different? Why? You know, I had people on the outside telling me, well, maybe she's supposed to be this weight. I have cravings too. I know what it feels like. She's just going to have to get used to it. She's just going to have to fight it. Are you making it harder than it has to be? So I had all these bombardment of ideas. And I sat there and I thought to myself, the only thing different about her and everybody else in the family here at this moment is that she's injecting insulin into her body. Now, sure, she has to measure and weigh and understand how many carbohydrates she's taken and match it to the insulin. I get that. But those of us in the type 1 diabetes community, we know that math is an absolute, but diabetes math, insulin matching carbohydrate math, is more of an art. It's not an absolute. There's a 20% margin of error just built into every time you calculate it. And that's when I started digging into the science of insulin. So let's dig into the science of insulin, because that is what's sabotaging you and creating those incessant cravings. Okay? I like to say this. Your cravings, everybody, are their chemistry. It's a science lab moment. Hey to all my 8th graders out there. Science lab moment. Cravings are chemistry. Okay, let's see what that means. That means at the dinner table when we eat food, digestion happens. Food is broken down into glucose. Glucose is the sciencey word. It's a real thing. Glucose is a science word for blood sugar. Yes, we all have glucose. We all have blood sugar. And every single one of us will have a rise in blood sugar when we eat. Food becomes glucose. Glucose becomes blood sugar, so therefore our amount of sugar in our blood rises. Okay? As blood sugar rises, that hormone, that mighty hormone, which was the only variable that was different between my daughter Erin and her brother and sister, insulin level in our body rises also in proportion to how much this blood sugar went up. Food, glucose, blood sugar rise. How much blood sugar rises, insulin will also rise. Because insulin unlocks the cells, basically, in our body and allows this blood sugar entrance into the cells to be used for energy. So you see why insulin will be produced by the pancreas and released into the bloodstream in the exact proportion amount to how much our blood sugar rose. That's what insulin's all about. So once insulin goes up, what do you think happens to blood sugar, meaning the sugar in our blood? The BS, the blood sugar, will drop. That's a good thing. That's why the world, the street name, the street idea of insulin is that it's the blood sugar regulating hormone. That's what all the medical teams told me when our daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Insulin, blood sugar regulating hormone. She's got to take insulin to regulate the amount of blood sugar in her body. So when blood sugar lowers, this action right here, blood sugar lowering, is what produces our cravings. Anytime blood sugar, doesn't matter what the number is, how high, how low, medium, wavy, walkie-talkie, slowly pepper, doesn't matter. Anytime blood sugar rises and then subsequently drops because insulin makes sure it gets it out of our bloodstream into cells, that's what triggers a trigger of cravings, because we are relying on this as our fuel source. We are a sugar burner, predominantly a sugar burner. We have trained our bodies for many, many years to be relying on glucose to fuel our day. So it's a blood sugar drop, which happened because of insulin, okay, that causes those cravings to be triggered. We are in sugar burner cycle of insanity because we have trained our bodies to rely on glucose, sugar, for fuel. So anytime you see the word glucose, that means sugar. Blood sugar. It's all the same thing. Okay? So again, what I found out when I was trying to help my daughter, I was locked into this mode. Barb, your daughter's insulin that she has to inject into her body, whereas her brother Charlie and her sister Grace, they don't have to worry about it. The insulin is produced by their pancreas. There's no worries. Okay? Whereas Erin, she had to worry. She had to put a lot of thought into eating and dosing insulin. But we were locked into this, that insulin, and believe me, insulin is a good thing. Insulin is a non-negotiable, life-sustaining hormone. In fact, if we didn't have insulin, we would die. So type 1 diabetics, before the discovery of synthetic or other kinds of insulin, they died pretty quickly too. So insulin, the injection of insulin, keeps type 1 diabetics alive. Sorry about that little dog barking. So insulin, we know, is this blood sugar regulator. Very good thing. That keeps us living. But you know what we didn't know? Because we really weren't told. And what I went digging for and what will help you with your cravings, like it helped my daughter with her cravings, is that insulin is also a fat creation, fat storage hormone. Okay? That was the moment of this is what causes your cravings. That your blood sugar rises. Insulin regulates it by bringing down. When it comes down, that fall in blood sugar causes cravings to start again. And this part of it is why you're stuck in weight woe, which was our other talk. Fat creation and fat storage. When insulin levels are up, you are creating new fat from your fuel, and worse, I think, your fat that you're carrying around in your body is locked down. When insulin levels are high, you cannot access body fat for fuel. So if you're exercising and exercising to get out of a chronic weight situation, you might, and more often than not, most people are, it's just literally a treadmill. You won't be able to lose the weight unless insulin levels are down while you're exercising.